Hello everyone, so here I am again making another episode of our city Rennmont. This time, as promised in the last episode, we are going to be expanding the city, the whole residential area, and maybe detailing even more the areas which we haven't touched since the first episode. So first thing I'm going to do is make a tram line. I won't be filling it up with any tram lines, but I will be laying down the tracks first, so that we have a basis for some public transport that we can use and take advantage of in the future. The roads I'm using here have a bit of trouble in intersections because the texture isn't in the vanilla game, so I tried to override it with intersection marking tool, but I couldn't do it. But nevertheless, I'm making some back alleys here that also look good to give it that look of the small residential blocks. And now we are going to do the same tedious process of laying down the houses with Move It and Find It to get them to be really close together and look good as seen from both near and afar. I will also be making some cafes on the streets so that there's plenty of space to hang around at and not just a thin sidewalk. The park we made in the first episode is a big boost for land value, so I'm going to take advantage of that and use the area as best as I can. Of course, I'm going to use Bob to remove the advertisements on the building walls because they look really terrible. And we're continuing to use our normal dynamic with the corner shops to remove walkability and make people not need to have a car to go around and shop or go to work. And of course, giving our citizens some good services like schools, which are all decorated with these benches and small grassy plots for them to grow at, in a way just to make it a bit different than just a bland concrete block. Also making some parks for the students to play at, and making the school be a bit more protected from the outside by delineating it with some of the plants and those hedges that also gave a nice cozy look to the whole school, and some tables for the children to eat at. I think making these details makes everything look a bit nicer and more complete and thought out. In a future episode, I will be placing down some signs to reduce the speed limit and make it an official school zone, so that we have some stuff in place to prevent cars from going fast in that area. Of course, it doesn't make any effect in game because the cars are AI driven and don't look at the signs, so it's just decorative, but it looks good nonetheless. And yeah, talking about detailing, I'm putting some extra props near the train station using procedural objects to get the height be the same height as the platforms, and it gives an extra good look to the whole building, adding some benches, timetables, and some clocks throughout the platform, so that people waiting for the train can know when it arrives and they can have a place to sit down and wait for the train to come. I'm using Move It to copy and paste it so that it is a bit faster. So we made another block, and here's the industrial area that we made last episode. Our population is mainly adults and seniors, so they're all already educated, so there's not a lot of demand for child-focused services, only some schools, and that would be enough. I'm expanding the park a bit, and making place for like a cafe with some tables and trees for people to hang out at near in between the main street and the alley. Little cozy ice cream shop and some tables. I think building with the frame being still is a bit nicer to look at instead of just moving the camera around as much. So I try to not move the camera around so much, so that the image is a bit more stable while I build. Of course, now I'm putting some invisible paths that go the same way as the street. This is the discreet way to have pedestrians walk on the roads, while the cars also use them. In the future, I plan to ban cars on the downtown area, but as at this time the only part of the city is the downtown and the historical center, there's no need to ban cars on the only place there is for them to go. But that's a thing I'm going to do in the future, and when I do it, we will only have emergency vehicles and some cargo deliveries be around in the streets, but the rest will all be pedestrianized. Here you can see another little outdoor area for people to be at, a kind of restaurant. It looks very good. I'm filling all the gaps with either the little plazas, some benches and trees, or if it's near a commercial building, I pretend that it is like a mixed-use building with a restaurant on the ground floor, so that it has a bit of an extension to the streets. And then if I just put some benches and trees, I use the space to make a little plaza so that it's a bit more pleasant to look at instead of just a concrete or grassy empty area. Another one of those outdoor restaurants, but this one is permanently on the dark side because it's on the shadows the whole time because of the building. So yeah, this one wouldn't have that high of a TripAdvisor grade in my opinion. Now yeah, I can just use the pre-made ones and copy paste them to areas where they also fit. And now we can see we have lots of commercial demand. So I'm going to put down the unique building of the marketplace and use Rico to make it a commercial building. So it, instead of being just a tourist attraction, it actually works as a commercial building. People work and shop there. So it has a functionality and actually works. So now we can fulfill the commercial demand we have. Of course, rearranging the energy posts is also important. You can see me making the building low commercial. and you can see it has a lot of workplaces for people to shop and be employed at. The only thing I would like to change there is the big Christmas tree, because it doesn't make sense to have just a big a big Christmas park in the middle of the city throughout the whole year. It's not Christmas the whole year, so yeah. And we also have the music from the park blasting all the time. You can hear it. You can't hear it because I muted the game footage so that we can have some music while I voice it over. But yeah, I think we can handle it. It looks good nonetheless if you ignore the unrealistic tree part. I also added a town hall near the main street again. That one is actually a tourist attraction, so it doesn't work neither as a residential nor commercial nor offices, and of course not an industry area. So yeah, it's just a decorative building, but it also looks good. It gives a sense of centrality to the city. Of course, I will have to surround it with some buildings around it so that it looks complete and not as isolated. And now we have another of those accelerated cinematic shots I made, showing it around the park. You can see, and a little bit of a zoom in of the small restaurant areas, and a big wide shot of the whole city. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.